What's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you're all doing well and having yourselves a very fantastic day. Of course, my name is Jason Joseph. This is Play by Play with JJ. We talk about the Phillies. We talk about the Eagles. We talk about all Philadelphia sports. And another team that's a part of the Philadelphia sports in our area, of course, is the Philadelphia 76ers. Can't forget, of course, the Phillies. At the time of this recording, by the way, June 23rd, Monday, June 23rd. The Phillies just came off of an incredible series win against the New York Mets. That was awesome. The Flyers made a big trade. That's great. You know, we're still celebrating the Eagles Super Bowl and how great that they did in the draft. But this is also a big week for the Philadelphia 76ers. I need somebody to break this down with, and I just wanted to bring on my man, JC. What's going on, JC? How are
Clap your hands, everybody from Philadelphia. 76ers. Stomp your feet. Move your body from Philadelphia. 76ers. JJ, what's going on, my man? Third pick in the draft. Let's get into it. This is an exciting time. Of course, the season was absolute garbage, as we know, but we're on to a new era. It's a new season. The NBA season just concluded yesterday with the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the championship. Congrats to the Thunder. Congrats to SGA with one of the greatest seasons of all time. MVP, finals MVP. I believe he averaged 32 in the finals, 33 over the season. All-time great regular season and playoffs for him. Devastating for Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, that pop was just, you could see it. That was gruesome to look at. And we really got robbed of a great Game 7 because the way that one started was electric. But
injuries are a part of the game. It sucks. We hate that. We saw it with Jason Tatum. And then, of course, we saw it with Tyrese Halliburton. Speaking of the finals, JC, okay, so I need you to talk to me, and I need you to let me know, what did you learn from the NBA Finals itself, and how does that impact the Sixers moving forward?
I think what I learned from the finals, and I think the playoffs in general, you need stars that can score 30, yes, but you really need to have a lockdown defense.
You do.
You really do. I mean, Oklahoma City had probably 8 guys that can make seven or 8 guys that can make an all-defensive team. And they just had incredible individual defenders and were just completely in sync with their team defense. Their rotations were crisp. They cut off the passing and driving lanes. Their hands were constantly in the cookie jar. They had a great rim protectors in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. And
big loss for the Knicks, by the way.
Yes, absolutely big loss for the Knicks. We saw their defense suffered with Cat in there. So, and also, I mean, it wasn't just the Thunder that I saw with great team defense. I know Houston got out, early to the Warriors, but Houston also was, with Amen Thompson and Tari Eason, guys like that. I mean, you're really starting to see these young athletic guys that can guard 1 through 4, have 7-foot wingspans, can jump out of the gym, and that's really what I think teams need to start collecting dudes on. And then the other thing I think I learned is it's not necessarily a super team, build your team with 3 stars, especially with the new collective bargaining agreement. The Thunder and Pacers, that's both teams of players who star in their roles. Great role players who can space the floor, who smack the floor and clamp down on defense, shoot the lights out of the 3, have crisp rotations on passes and move the ball around, and are and the Pacers case, excellent in transition as well. So it's not I know that's what the Sixers are trying to do, but it's not necessarily the same approach for every team in that you need to build a team with 3 stars.
You know, I thought that was an incredible NBA Finals. I thought that even during the last game, the Indiana Pacers gave it everything that they had. And part of me, and then we'll get on topic, trust me. Part of me thought to myself, they're not done. Like during that when there were 2.5 minutes left, and I think that they cut it to 12 or something along those lines, I thought this team still might have a chance because they just gave you that magic. They gave you that absolute joy of watching basketball. They came back in every single series, won game. And I've never seen a team that just had that mojo, had that swagger. And we can also talk about X's and O's, and we can talk about TJ McConnell not getting many minutes in game 6 during that fourth quarter. And we can talk about Rick Carlisle's decision-making and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I thought that even though, say what you want about the markets, say what you want about the basketball viewership, I thought that as a basketball fan, that was just pure basketball.
I agree, man. That was an excellent matchup that we got. That I don't know if we would have got if the Knicks made that series.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And yeah, man, that was an interesting decision in Game 6 when our boy TJ McConnell was going off.
Yes,
had 18 and
12 in the third.
12 in the third, yes. And Carlisle is like, we're going to stick with Halliburton, who had 0 and didn't make a shot in the fourth. That was an interesting decision that came back to bite them. But as you were saying, comebacks all over the place for that Pacers team. Even in game 1, the Thunder forced 25 turnovers in that game, and the Pacers managed to flush that down the toilet. They had
the lead with 47 minutes and 59 seconds of the game. They had the lead, and the 3/10, they lost the last 3/10. Crazy.
Yeah. So props to both squads, man, and shout out to our boy TJ McConnell, man. I'm really happy for him, and he, the deal that Indiana signed him on, I believe he got like a $2 or $3 million deal when they took him from us in 2019.
Yep.
So he's just a dog, man. I mean, if there's anybody that represents Philly, it's that guy.
It does, and I'm interested to see how the Sixers, how Daryl Morey and the Sixers look at this. I mean, I would love to get their perspective on that. But we have a draft. We have a draft coming up on Wednesday. At the time of this recording, again, it's Monday. It's Monday night, Monday, June 23rd. I'm not in the future, I promise. It's Monday, June 23rd. So anything can happen even tomorrow morning. Okay. But my question to you is, are the Sixers A, trading up, B, trading down, C, trading the pick, period, or D, staying? And then, just to add on to another question, what do you think that they should do?
My gut tells me that they are staying where they are, that they are keeping this pick. We've heard the reports that they have tried to trade up to number 2. It seems like San Antonio will not budge at all. They are selecting Dylan Harper with that pick.
Can I ask why?
See, it does confuse me quite a bit because that is an interesting situation with the clunkiness of the guard situation. You've got De'Aaron Fox that you just traded for. seems like when they made that trade, they were not expecting that they were going to get the second pick. But then Wembanyama has the blood clots. Fox gets shut down for the season, and here they are in this position where they get lucky in the lottery once again. So, Dylan Harper, he is a fantastic prospect. He has incredible court vision, excellent in transition, acrobatic finesse finisher, driving to the basket, can finish through contact. The 3-point shot needs a little bit of work. It does, but he's got a very nice pull-up mid-range game as well. And he's just got a very, very shifty handle that you need in today's NBA, as we saw with the handle of Tyrese Halliburton. So I think that's what they're going to do. Many teams have tried to trade up to that pick, and the Spurs are just not going to do it. So Dylan Harper's the pick there. So that is not an option for the Sixers, and I think they are going to stay. But that's not necessarily what I think they should do, but that's what I think they are going to do.
So what do you think that they should do?
You want me to get right into it directly off the bat?
I want you to boom.
I think we should trade back.
Okay.
I think we should trade back with the Pelicans. Trade the number 3, Kelly Oubre and Lonnie Walker, for Herb Jones and the number 7.
You're going to hurt a lot of Sixers fans' hearts with Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre is my guy, man.
I know.
A picture with him. Kelly Oubre, and I hate trading away Kelly Oubre. I think that's the only way they would get it done, is the Pelicans would ask for Kelly Oubre, and that's my guy, man. We hugged at the Sixers Youth Foundation Gala. He's like, "I love you, bro." But anyway, I think that's the only way it would get done. And then I think when you get back to the number 7, you take Kon Knuppel with that pick. So,
okay. So you're saying get Herb Jones and get the 7th pick?
Yes, because the Pelicans currently have the 7. They would trade up to number 3, give us Herb. We send back we give them the 3 and Kelly and Lonnie Walker, and that's the trade.
Interesting. Okay, I haven't heard that one before. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'd have to process that, but I want to hear your thought process on it.
Well, I think a lot of people be like, if we're going to trade for the Pelicans, why don't we trade for Trey Murphy? Well, we just saw Desmond Bane go for 5 first-round picks.
Yes.
I think Trey Murphy is a better player than Desmond Bane. He averaged 21 a game last year. He shoots, 38% from 3 on 8 attempts a game, can shoot the ball from half court. Yeah. One of the best dunkers in the league, and ferocious going down the lane, has a very shifty handle for a small forward. He would be going for 5 first-round picks, and he's making 4 years, 112. So that's off the table with where our cap space is. But according to Kevin O'Connor from Yahoo Sports, there are no untouchables in New Orleans. League sources say the Pelicans are gouging the market for everyone on their roster. So, namely Zion Williamson, but it appears the Pelicans are looking into taking different paths this summer, depending on what opportunities become available. That to me sounds like they may be blowing it up, because if you look at the Pelicans roster, they're paying Zion $40 million a year. You want to talk about Embiid being injury prone? Zion is injured every single year. Yes. He plays like 20-something games, maybe 40 at most. Then you've got C.J. McConnell making $32 million a year, and you've got DeJounte Murray and Trey Murphy both making 28 plus a year.
Yep.
They've got to get off a contract at some point.
They do.
So my thought process is, to me, Herb Jones is a top 10 defender in the league, a top 5 perimeter defender. I think that he's a very decisive slasher to the basket. He's one of the best corner three-point shooters in the league. In 2023 and 2024, he shot 47% from three at the corner. And in 2023, 2024, he was All-NBA first-team defense, had 105 steals, averaging 1.4 steals a game in 76 games, also averaged a block, and had 3 games of 5 steals. He sees passing lanes before they develop. He always beats the passers to their first read in an instant. His hand is always in the cookie jar, slapping the ball away. He navigates the fast break quickly off these steals, always seems to make the right pass in transition. He shot 42% from three on 3.6 attempts a game in that 2023-2024 season. He wasn't healthy really this past year, only played 20 games. But like I said, from the corner, he's 47% from three. And that was on 150 attempts in that 23-24 season. In the Sixers offense,
it's not like PJ Tucker. Like,
no.
because the reason why I was smiling was because I remember, like, when we got PJ Tucker, a lot of people were saying, well, who's the best corner three-point shooter in the NBA? But that was only on, like, what? How many attempts? Like, 2, 3? Like,
exactly. And that's where he would be in the Sixers offense because of how many guys we need the ball in their hands.
Yes.
He would purely be a spot-up shooter on offense. And then on defense, he's the guy that's going to guard your Jalen Brunsons. He even with his wingspan could guard a Giannis.
Sure.
He would be guarding your Halliburtons, your Donovan Mitchells, your Darius Garlands. He is a lockdown defender, man. He really is up there as one of the best defenders in the league, as evidenced by that first team All-NBA in 23-24. And he's only making $13.5 million a year. His contract.
Yeah, so you're not going to have to pay a lot for him, right?
Yeah, so I think Daryl could finagle it with our cap space.
I'll get back to the draft board in just a second. So I just want to hear your logic from this perspective. So that obviously means that if they do this deal, right? Like just hypothetically speaking, if they do this deal, Yabu's not coming back, right?
I already don't think Yabu's coming back.
Okay.
It seems like there's a lot of teams that have an interest in him.
Yes.
I think he would be very intrigued in teaming up with his French teammate Wemby.
Yep.
And me personally, I think you have to do everything in your power to bring Quentin Grimes back.
I'm with you there.
And you're going to have to pay him Grimes more than you want to because someone is going to piss the Sixers off and try and sign him to an offer sheet.
Well, they do have his rights, correct? Because he's a restricted free agent. So they have the rights to pay him, like, right?
Yes, but the Sixers would still need to match whoever, let's say the Nets come in we're like, we want to offer him like
12.
4 year. I think the Nets could be like 4 years, $80 million, and the Sixers would have to consider matching that. So, because I think his contract is going to be, it could be anywhere from 50 to 80 million across 4 years. So, the dude averaged like 28 in March. I mean,
yeah, crazy.
So, I think that's the Sixers' plan on who they're going to re-sign. So,
last question before I get into the players of the draft and all that sort of stuff. Is Paul George getting traded on draft night? No. Is Joel Embiid getting traded on draft night?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I just had to ask because some people are saying they might. One of them. So I wanted to get your opinion, like your actual opinion on that. So I just had to be sure to ask you that.
I mean, there's not. What would an Embiid deal even look like? I think they're only trading. I think they're only trading him for players, and the Mavs are not accepting Embiid for Cooper Flag, so that's not happening. I saw a report that a Jazz potential deal for John Collins and Colin Sexton. Yes. Why would the Sixers?
I don't know why they would do that. I don't
I
know
mean,
why.
Colin Sexton's a dog, but John Collins can barely shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, we need more floor spacing, and those guys just don't provide that.
No, they don't.
I think Daryl Morey is really he has asserted how committed he is to this trio,
Yep.
and I know it was a disaster last year, but you've got to give it a chance, man. I mean, Paul George and Embiid played like 10 games, maybe even less last year together. You've got to give it a chance. You just have to give it at least another year. Because we've heard from PG, he's gone on these podcasts and he's saying everything was banged up right from the very start when Nick Nurse decided, oh, we're going to play Paul George, an injury-prone player in the preseason. What is that accomplishing? And then he busts his knee, and that affects him the rest of the year. And then he hurts his pinky, and a pinky injury is going to affect your shot, and a knee injury is going to affect the lift on your shot. So, and they rushed Embiid back. Embiid clearly didn't want to play, and they seems like the team forced him to play, and he just wasn't, and his body was just not ready. So you've got to give it a chance. And I honestly think that us not hearing anything about Joel's surgery is actually a good thing, because I think
The less we know, the better.
The less we know, the better. And I think if it was bad and he's not recovering properly, there's no way that wouldn't have leaked. We saw in the season that meeting the Sixers had where Maxey calls out Joel for being late to practices. If Joel's surgery did not go well, we would know. We would know that he is not recovering properly. So I think the less we know, the better.
Yeah, but also like Shams's camp would have said something, because there were even reports I remember this year where you heard some things from the national media that not even local media members like Keith Pompey or other people from like Kyle Neubeck and all those people weren't in front of, and the national media would have their own agenda. So
what do you think about it?
I don't know. I legit don't know what is going to happen on draft night. I'm ready to look on all ends. I think that they should. I think personally, with everything that we've been hearing about Ace Bailey, personally, changes a lot of things. Same thing with VJ, which just came out today too. It does change a lot of things, and it makes you wonder. Anything that they do, they're going to get backlash for. That's just the way that I look at it. If they trade the pick, people are going to criticize them. If they keep the pick, they're going to criticize them. If they trade down, and even if they trade away Paul George or whatever the case is, people are going to criticize them. Any way you look at it, it's a double-edged sword. And I truly don't know what is going to happen. I legit don't know. I'm open for all options or all perspectives, because I just don't. I've seen Daryl Morey trade picks and do crazy things on draft night, and I can't rule anything out. I can't rule anything out. But I will tell you, from what I've seen, this draft looks pretty deep. This looks like a very deep draft, and if the Sixers were to get the third pick in any draft, first of all, lottery night, everybody talked about, well, they didn't get the first pick. I'm sorry, lottery night was a success, because look at the Washington Wizards, look at the Hornets. I know that the Hornets ended up getting like the fourth pick, but these teams that tried to tank, where did it get them? The Sixers were the luckiest out of all the top 5 teams, that were tanking. So the fact that they got the third, to me, is a win, because they have a high value pick. And I look at this class and I say to myself, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace, VJ, Kon, Trey, like just those 6 players alone have a lot of talent. We don't know about the off-court stuff. We don't know about their egos, and we don't know about certain things like people avoiding practices and all those types of things, but it's all based on potential. That's just what the draft is, period. But these guys have high ceilings. It seems like it. It seems like that the ceilings for these guys are very, very high. And I don't know, like when you look at this class, when you look at top to bottom, like you can also look at Jeremiah Fears. You can look at all the international people that are in the draft now too. I just feel like that it's pretty deep, but I want to hear what your thoughts are just about the level of play from all these individuals from this draft board.
Yeah, I personally think I think it's deep as well. I mean, you look at a guy like R.J. Lewis Jr. from St. John's. I mean, it's looking like he's going to be a second-round pick, and he was one of the best players in college basketball. So,
yeah,
Walter Clayton Jr.
Derik Queen. He's listed on ESPN's draft board. He's listed as 14. Some people have him in their top 5. Have him in their top 5 draft board.
Yeah, Clayton was the star of the tournament. He won the Final Four MVP and is projected to be in the 20s. So
Carter Bryant, another one that's out of the top 10. He played with Cal, right? Coach Cal.
Carter Bryant. I'm blanking on him for a second.
He was a forward.
He played at Arizona.
Right.
Yeah. Coach Cal was Arkansas this year.
I don't know why I was
confused. But yeah, I mean, let's get into it. You talked a few minutes ago about the reports of Ace Bailey. So let's break it down for those who don't know. So far, Ace Bailey has canceled his workout with the Philadelphia 76ers. He has not worked out for a single NBA team, has not had a private workout. There was a report from Draft Express saying basically that he believes he's a top 3 player. He wants to be selected by a team that he has a clear path to stardom right away. He's not conducted a single workout. He's declined invitations from several teams within the top couple picks. And he thinks that a team like in Atlanta or a Washington or a Portland or a Brooklyn, that they trade up for him. And he has a clear path to where he can be the number 1, the number 2 guy. So, I mean, didn't he wanted a promise? I think Jason Dumas reported he wanted a promise from the Sixers before agreeing to meet with them.
That is correct.
So Sean Bernard tweeted this. He said, "Call me crazy, but wouldn't the best way to get a promise be working out with the team and meeting the decision makers in the organization in person?" So, shout out Sean, one of the better Philly 76ers content creators on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's a great tweet.
He's great.
He's right though.
He is right. Yeah.
If you want a promise for the team, you're just expecting them to pick you without even working out for them.
I know.
I like, especially because the Sixers, I think they value character as well.
They do.
And that ties into a report about VJ Edgecombe today that Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philly today. He did not shoot the ball particularly well in a one-on-one setting, but he made a strong impression in interviews and meetings. And so now it's coming out that he is the number 1 guy in the clubhouse for the 76ers. So it seems like they really value character and who you are as a person and the respect you give and the type of man you are. So, and that's evidenced by their last couple picks and Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, who are both incredible people as well.
Yes. Now, out of all the guys, Ace, BJ, and Kon, I know that those three are your top three. If the Sixers stay put, don't trade the pick. Out of all three of those people, who you going for? Because I would still go with VJ personally, and the reason why I would go with him is because I think he's really athletic. I think that he brings so much versatility to the table. On the defensive side, he's so explosive. He really is. Every time he just goes to the rim, like, he just flies. He gets up there, man. He's good. He's also a very good on-ball defender. It really seems like. It seems like he has a very good IQ, and I think that that's what the Sixers are lacking, personally. I think that they need some versatility in size, and I know that you even talked about it too with what you learned about during the NBA Finals. This guy fits this NBA perfectly with where it's at right now, and I think that he could be one of those showstoppers who can also produce on offense, and that's why I would go with him. He also is not only is he really good like on the perimeter too, and then I'll get to your thoughts, but I think that ball handling is something that he can sort of work more on. I don't really even know if they would need him to even be like a dominant ball handler per se, but if they ever decide to go the route of, you know what, Tyrese Maxey is the point guard, which personally I think that he's just a shooting guard who can handle the rock, but then maybe they could develop him into more of a shooting guard, small forward type of a role.
Yeah.
I don't know. What say you?
For me, it's a toss-up because I still wouldn't rule out Ace Bailey even with all of these reports, just because the highlights you watch,
I know
he's KD,
I know.
He's Kevin Durant-esque.
I know.
And I know that's a big statement, but to your point with Edgecombe, my evaluation of him, he's 6'5", 180, so he's a decent size for a shooting guard. I agree. He's the most athletic player in the class. He's incredibly fast.
I think he's like what Zaire Smith was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good comp. I think he's the best perimeter defender in the class as well. I mean, this dude can get up. He can get up, and he runs the full court in 4 seconds. He's just a vicious, ferocious shot blocker, and he aggressively rips away loose balls for steals. He averaged 2 steals in college. And I think he's a pretty good catch and shoot player as well. And personally, to me, I think where Ace Bailey struggles, I think he has a weak handle, and I think Edgecombe has the advantage in his handle, because he brought the ball up a lot for Baylor. I think he has a much better handle than Bailey, and he also, if he isn't going to have the ball a lot, and he is going to be a lot more off ball if he is drafted to the Sixers, and he does move well coming off screens when he's off ball. Per Jacob Marino, he shot 47.6 from 3 when coming off screens. That was on a small sample size of 21 attempts, but his assist to turnover ratio as well. He had 106 assists to 64 turnovers. So,
as you were talking, I just thought of something. He's coming into like a very unique situation if the Sixers were to come get him, because just look at like where they're at. You have Paul George, you have Joel Embiid, you have Tyrese Maxey. Like, on paper, that's a lot of talent. And it's like such a unique situation, just to be able to learn from these vets. Like, usually, like when a lot of guys get drafted, they go into like Washington or Charlotte, like where they are the face of the franchise. or like where there's not a lot of people who have had a lot of success individually and as a team. So I find that to also be kind of unique for the Sixers. And then you put them along with the young guys like Jared McCain, and if the Sixers resign him, Quentin Grimes, like you have youth, and Justin Edwards.
Yeah. My thing is that I just don't love the fit of four guards
Yes.
that need the ball in their hands. It's just a little clunky to me, and I don't want to take the ball out of Tyrese and Jared's hands and Grimes as well after his contract's going to probably total, to over 60 million. I don't want to take the ball out of those three guys' hands when you also have to get it in PG and Embiid's hands too. And I don't think I've talked to you a long time about this. I don't think Nick Nurse has a great idea of how to distribute the ball and move the ball around evenly and get all the guys the shots they need. I think he just has a lot of our guys standing in the corner, and I just don't know how adding another guy that needs the ball in their hands in that mix works. But then that's the same thing with Ace Bailey, is he needs the ball in his hands. Both of these guys, if they are drafted for the Sixers, they very well may not get minutes right away. So
that's the other thing too. That's a very good point.
I mean, look at Reed Shepherd for the Rockets. They didn't play him until the last couple of games of the season.
Right.
So as far as my evaluation for Bailey, he's 6'10", he's 200 pounds. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. His arms are extremely long.
Has a lot of potential. He really does.
I mean, the negatives are his handle is very loose and shaky, and he's infamous for his awful court vision. He is a ball hog, I will admit that. 38 assists to 61 turnovers at Rutgers last year. That's very concerning. But he averaged 18 a game where he didn't have a supporting a cast outside of Dylan Harper. He shot 46% on 15 attempts and 35 from 3 on 5 attempts and averaged a block and a steal. But then the negative is you only get one assist in that mix. As far as the skill, I mean, he makes extremely difficult contested shots and has a full bag of, turnaround fadeaways, a pretty mid-range, is extremely skilled post-up fadeaways and turnaround fadeaways, and he's got just an elite pull-up jumper, and he moves like Durant in the fact that Durant doesn't need a lot of dribbles to get his shot off. Both of Ace Bailey, he gets his shot off in two to four dribbles, and that's all it needs. Most of the time, it's just a one dribble pull up, and that's it, or just a turnaround fadeaway or a post fadeaway. So he makes type of difficult shots. I haven't seen someone this young with that shot making ability in college since Anthony Edwards at Georgia.
Yep.
And his jump shot is also a high release, so he can shoot over lengthier defenders. And then on the defensive end, I think even if the Sixers are not getting him the ball right away on offense, because even if he is in the starting lineup, he's not going to get a lot of shots. I think right away he can make an impact on the defensive end with his wingspan. I mean, he just has chased down blocks where he just comes out of nowhere.
I know.
And then in transition, running the floor with Maxey or McCain, I mean, he can get up and catch lobs, man. He's got hops.
Good luck.
So Paul George, he's vouched for him many times as the best player in the class in PG's opinion. And I wonder if he's in the front office's ear and how much Daryl Morey takes PG's opinion into account. But he's not had a workout with them. Like,
that's the weird thing. That's the bizarre thing. And that's why I was totally all in on Ace Bailey. I even said the fact that that our media is criticizing him because they think that he's a finished product, that's flawed. They act like that this guy is just who he is. I understand that Rutgers did not make it into the March Madness tournament. I get that. I do. But this guy's 18. Like he's a kid. This isn't just who he is. Like again, you're basing this off of potential, and so I thought that it was a low risk, high reward for the Sixers, especially because they got to the pick. I mean, they got to the third pick, but just the fact that he's just been avoiding these workouts, it's not cool. It's not professional, and I don't know, like that part to me is just what nags at me. Like it's totally a Sixers problem. This is totally a Sixers thing. Like you can't, you just can't make this up. You can't be surprised.
I would say in these situations, like I try to give the player the benefit of the doubt in that he's young and naive. You know, he's 18. You know, like he could like in most years he just graduated high school. Like so, I think he's just getting terrible advice from his camp, and it may not necessarily be him. I think his agent is Sharif Cooper's dad.
Yes, that's correct.
So I think his camp is just giving him terrible advice. But I guess it seems like he wants to be a star and that he's not going to buy into a role where on this team right away, he's at best the sixth option.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to buy into that. But then the other flip side of it is like, it's too predictable, man, that if you don't take him, he's going to be a star.
No.
It's just such a Sixers thing to happen. It just feels like the Tatum situation, all over again. That's the thing. So, but I really wouldn't be upset with VJ Edgecombe.
I wouldn't either,
because I think he can buy into a role player role. I think, like I said, he's pretty good off the catch and shoot, coming off screens. So, and we need a lockdown defender, man. I mean, we were like, our defensive rating last year was like 118. I think we were like 21st. No, we were a bottom 5 defense, actually. We were a bottom 5 defense. Point guards and forwards, they just light us up every game. I mean, it seems like every star gets 30 against us.
Everybody thought that was just a Brett Brown and Doc Rivers issue. Nope.
No, and Nick Nurse is supposed to be a so we've got to get someone that can clamp down on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So we've got the interior with Joel. Paul George is still I think he's still a very, very good defender.
I still think he's a good defender too. I'll buy that.
And I think Grimes is a great defender as well. So
underrated defender.
Yeah. We've got players to flank. We just need a guy that can guard the ball. So I think Edgecombe wouldn't be a bad pick either. So I think either one of those guys. I think you're in a good spot. And you know what? I think we have no choice, but we have reason to not trust Morey on a lot of other things. He can be a snake.
He's great at drafting. He's so good at drafting.
Yeah, he may make promises to players that he can't keep, but in terms of drafting, he has, with the Sixers especially, he has such an excellent track record. I was just about to say that. So
even if he uses AI. Even if he uses AI.
I mean, the only miss he's had here is been Jared Springer, and really Jared Springer got no playing time.
Yeah, Jaden.
But you look at Isaiah Joe's now an NBA champion. Tyrese Maxey is an all-star and had 46 in a playoff game. Jared McCain
Paul Reed wasn't a bad pick.
Paul Reed wasn't a bad pick either. No. Jared McCain was going to walk into Rookie of the Year hands down.
Yes.
And average had multiple games of 25 plus. Adem Bona is looking like our backup center of the future and averaged 2 blocks a game March through the end of the season. I mean, his track record really is is brilliant, Morey, on drafting. So you have no. I think you have no choice but to trust him. And if one of these guys ends up being a bust, so be it. We still have a lot of guys on paper that can deliver.
I have there's one shooter that I really, really like from this draft, and you had him as your third option. This guy, when he played with Coop, thought that he really shined. That's Kon. I thought that this guy specifically is just an incredible shooter. I think he's the greatest shooter in the draft. I really do. I think that his shot making ability is just absolutely awesome. And you saw it in the March Madness whole tournament. You saw how much, like, when the lights were bright, that guy really, really produced. And it wasn't just the fact that he was just an outstanding shooter, but he was also he was also a pretty good defender too, and he had some really good pass making abilities. Now, obviously, again, this goes back to the whole too many cooks in the kitchen with the guards, but I think if the Sixers were to fall back on him, I don't think that would be a bad pick either.
Yeah, I think it's actually. I think he's the best fit. He's not the best player. No doubt he's not the best player. But at Duke, he averaged 14 a game. He shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts a game, hit 84 threes. In March Madness, he elevates his game, has 2 20-point games, shoots 10 of 18 from 3. His handle is pretty decent.
It's not bad.
It's not a flashy, shifty handle, but he gets to his spots efficiently. And he can put it on the floor and bump into contact for a mid-range. Occasionally he gets to the hoop. He has very solid footwork, and he's great at moving off the ball. He cuts off screens and relocates to the open spot for 3. And listen, dude, we were 34% from 3 last year. We were 21st in the league from 3. We need floor spacers.
We do.
Because Maxey, PG, McCain, they like to drive. And when those lanes close up, you need someone to kick it to. And when Joel Embiid gets double teamed in the post, you need someone to kick it to. And Kon, he doesn't need to take a single dribble. He's like Klay Thompson. He doesn't need to take a single dribble to get his shot off. It's just simply catch and shoot, quick release, right away, bang.
Yep.
And I think that's the perfect fit, is someone who doesn't need the ball in his hands. And I think all these other guys that we mentioned do. And that's why I really think my scenario, although I really don't know if the Pelicans are willing to give up Herb Jones or not. But I mean, I think the third overall pick for Herb Jones is very enticing. So, if they really do love Ace Bailey. So I really think the Sixers should explore that. Because if you walked away from this draft with Herb Jones at Kon, that's an A++. You've just added one of the best defenders in the league and a lights-out shooter. You just added 2 role players to your rotation.
Who can also play defense, too.
I would say Knuppel, he's a little slow. He might get picked on a little bit. But,
yes.
But Herb Jones, he's one of the best perimeter defenders I've ever seen. So
yeah.
That's just what I think they should do, because like we've got to win now, man.
We have to.
Ace Bailey, he's going to need time to develop. He just will.
Yes.
That handle needs work. His court vision needs work.
Yes. You have to match up the timelines. You have to.
Like Tatum is out for next year. Halliburton's out for next year. Damian Lillard's out for next year. Giannis very well may get traded.
I'm so happy that you brought that up.
The East is wide open next year. If we're healthy, if next year's not the year, then when is?
Correct. If not now, when? And you know who else is looking at it that way too? The Knicks. The Knicks are looking at it in the same exact way. And I forgot to tell you what I learned from the NBA Finals. It was exactly that. It was exactly that. And the Magic, they're heading in that direction too, along with the Pistons. I think that all those teams, it's going to be a dogfight. Um, so before we sign off, okay, but before we do end up signing off, I I wonder, okay, I have to ask you this: Giannis Antetokounmpo is available. You get a phone call. Daryl Morey gets a phone call. Are you taking that phone call? And if so, what are you doing? I just have to ask you because I can't rule that out on trade on draft night either.
No, I'm not taking it.
You're not taking it.
No, because I already know what they're asking for. They're asking for the third pick, Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. They're asking for all three.
If it was for Paul George, would you do it? I see a smile. I see a smile.
I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
let's just be honest, Jason. That's not happening. That,
I know. I know.
that we don't live in a perfect world.
I
That's
know.
just. I mean, Paul
I'm
George
sorry.
is my guy, but I'd have to be a moron to
had
say
to.
no to that. But you know that's not happening. Even for Joel, that's not happening.
I know.
So, that's just a rhetorical question, but
I had to ask you that. Something else that I actually did forget to ask you, and I apologize about it. Derik Queen is low on the draft board on ESPN. Is there a chance that if he becomes available during the second round, that the Sixers go for him?
He's not going to be available in the second round. He's gonna be a top 15 to 20 pick.
You think he is going to be a top 15 pick?
Yeah.
It's not going to be
him and Maluak are both going to be top 15.
Okay. Are you surprised that he's not top 10?
He might be top 10. I mean, I'm just looking at. Let's see.
I'm saying on ESPN's draft board. Are you surprised that he's not top 10?
I mean, I just don't trust any ESPN ranking that's done anyway. So I don't trust any ESPN ranking, and I don't trust any Ringer ranking where Joel Embiid is apparently the 84th best player in the NBA according to Bill Simmons and the Ringer. So,
damn, I know. Yeah. Hey man, Bill Simmons has not been nice to us. He's not been nice to us. So, but yeah, dude. All right. Well, I appreciate you for coming on here. I think we covered everything. If there's anything else that you don't think that we covered, like by all means, have at it.
I think we touched everything, man. I think this is a great problem to have the amount of options that we do. There are going to be teams that are calling up to Daryl and offering things. To have that flexibility to move down and get more assets, because at the very least, even if you don't get a player, you're going to get another pick. And maybe a second rounder, and maybe a future first, but those are still valuable assets to trade down the line. And I think either way, no matter how you slice it, even if they do stay at the pick, I don't know how much either of these players are going to play right away. But I know if they do play right away, that both of them will be great on the defensive end. I know that that's at least what we're getting, even if the offense is shaky. I do worry about the offense for both of them, in terms of needing development, not being able to contribute offensively right away, especially with Nick Nurse's shot distribution. But I think we're in a good spot in that we have the roster in which even if we do draft these guys, they can sit for a year, maybe even 2 years, not get that many minutes. Maybe we send them down to the Delaware Bluecoats and we let them develop and because I think we do have a deep roster. It's just, as you know, it's all about health with the 76ers. So
I know. It all comes down to that. I know it doesn't seem like I'm not looking forward to the draft because I am. I'm just nervous. I really am. I'm nervous because this is if they go all in for it, they got to get it right. If they decide to go into another direction, they have to get it right. Like they have put themselves in a position, whether it's fair or not, where there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, and the fans are who've been supporting this team are very passionate. They want what's best for the team, and Daryl has to understand that. And I do think that Daryl does. I do think that Daryl Morey knows what is expected of him, but he is, and he knows that he's also not liked by a lot of the fans either. But
the guy's not a moron. He has to know that him and Nick Nurse are on the hot seat.
Yes, that's essentially what I'm saying. So it's going to be a big 2 days. It feels weird saying that it's 2 days. Like the fact that it's 2 days, that's just wild to me.
Yeah,
but
man.
JC, thank you so much for popping on with me. Popping on. Thank you so much for popping on with me. I appreciate it.
It's always a blast with you, my boy. This
Yeah.
is some of the most fun I have. So thank you, my brother.
Anytime. That's going to wrap it up, guys. I hope that you guys have yourselves a great rest of your day. Go Sixers. And let's see how they do with this draft. We'll talk about it. Bye.